Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to Srila Prabhupada Book Reading Club. Here we are reading the Srila Prabhupada small book, Lord Chaitanya, His Life and His Teachings. We are in most intimate part and which is the most important, even interview point of view for the initiation, that conversation between Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya. So we need to go a little depth. So we read that session that section from this book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Here it is given little depth. So there are only two topics as remaining, the Supreme Lord and the last is the conclusion. So we will go through it today and tomorrow. And then the few topics as remaining in this book, that how Lord Chaitanya returned to the Puri and further leaders. So we will start our session by offering the prayers to our Acharya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं तदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितान् च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम
राम राम
राम
हरे
राम
हरे
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 हरे।
हरे
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय।
So please raise your hand because we will cover and we will try to cover entire chapter and this is little bigger, no? So, yesterday we covered the 30 chapter. Now we will start the 31 chapter, the Supreme Perfection. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, so whatever coming from him is full of a nectar and full of his realization. It is not just text, no? They are full of realizations. Hare Krishna, who wants to read?
Should I read?
Vinod?
I've raised my hand.
Yes, one by one. Everyone can read.
Shall I start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Chapter 31. Sorry, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chapter 31, the Supreme Perfection. Whenever position, whatever position one may have, if he is fully conversant with the science of Krishna, I think this is a little coming small, Mataji. I'll just expand it. Yeah, okay. The science of Krishna consciousness, he can become a bona fide spiritual master, an initiator or a teacher of the science. In other words, one can become bona fide spiritual master if he has sufficient knowledge of the science of Krishna. Krishna consciousness becoming such a spiritual matter does not depend on particular position in society, or on birth. This is the conclusion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is in accordance with Vedic injunctions. On the strength of this conclusion, Lord Chaitanya, previously known as Vishwambara accepted the spiritual master Ishvara Puri, who was a sannyasi. Similarly, Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Acharya also accepted a sannyasi as the spiritual master, namely Madhavendra Puri, who was a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. Lakshmipati Tirtha. Similarly, another great Acharya, Sri Rasikananda, accepted Sri Shyamananda as his spiritual master, although Shyamananda was not born in a Brahmana family. So also did Gadadhara Chakravarti accept Narottama Dasa Thakura as his in spiritual master. In ancient days, there are even a hunter named Dharma who became a spiritual master for many people. There are clear instructions in Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam in bracket 7.11.32 starting uh, stating that a person should be accepted as Bhaktiman, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra according to his personal qualification and not his birth. For example, if a man is born in a Brahmana family, but his personal qualification are those of a Shudra, he should be accepted as Shudra. Similarly, if a person is born in a Shudra family, but he has qualification of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana. All Shastric injunctions, as well as the various, as well as the versions of great sages, authorities establish that a bona fide spiritual master is not necessarily Brahmana by caste. The only qualification is that he be conversant with the signs of Krishna consciousness. The This that alone makes one perfectly eligible to become a spiritual master. This is the conclusion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his discussions with Ramananda Raya. Hare Krishna Mataji, Srila
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada Maharaj ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. So here we can see, na, like, yes, they discuss a lot of things. So one of the things is like that, like, they are discussing, like, people from the Brahmin family, they says like only like we should call as a Brahman, no other should call as a Brahman. But what Lord Chaitanya is saying, like what the authorities are saying, and what the Vedic and Shastric injections are saying, that like okay, you can become like a spiritual master. Like there are only one qualification: you should be conversant in a science of Krishna. Like you should know the science of Krishna, and like you should be very well like very versed in that. And like yes, the Brahmana, a Brahmana, like if he has the Shudra qualities, then he is accepted as a Shudra. And even one person born in a Shudra family, but he has the qualities of a Brahmana, then he should like accepted as a Brahmana. And like this spiritual master, like, or being a Brahmana, is not by the birth, but they are qualified by their personal qualification to become a Brahmana. So like, but people out of ignorance, they say that like okay, we are born in a Brahmin family, so we are Brahmanas, and like other peoples, they are born in their uh, respective families, they are Shudras. But this is not good. Like how can, like if a person take a birth in a doctor's family, he immediately don't become doctor. He has to go to the college, he have to earn the degrees, he have to practice under like a trained doctors, then he get the certificate, okay, he is the doctor. So similarly, no one can, like simply by birth, right, he cannot say I am a Brahmin. No, you have to show by your personal qualification that you are really Brahmin. And yes, like whatever knowledge we are taking, it should come from the parampara, and we should accept the bona fide spiritual master. Unless and until we accept the initiation or like take the shelter of bona fide spiritual master, whatever spiritual activities do, our chanting, our reading, hearing, everything is calculated as a pious activities. And like when we take the initiation we started. So from like from that day, like our real bhakti started, and like it is calculated, and like whatever amount you earn daily, it is kept in your bhakti account, not in a pious. Okay, so it is very important. Like if you are following four regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, like just push yourself to follow everything very strictly and like with a full heart, and like you should apply for the initiation. Okay, and like you shouldn't offend the spiritual master as well, even when you are taking the shelter and anything. You shouldn't break, like like we simply just for a satisfaction of a 1 or 2 minutes, we like tend to break the four regulative principles. But we have to be careful. Okay. Then like here it is given even a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. Then also he accepted the Ishvara Puri as his spiritual master, and like Ishvara, who is the Ishvara Puri spiritual master, the Madhavendra Puri, the same Madhavendra Puri for him, like a Gopinatha, like a steal the key, like a Kheer Chora Gopinath story. He is the same Madhavendra Puri, and yes, like Madhavendra Puri, also known as a Lakshmipati Tirtha. And like this is the disciplic succession given. Na? And then Ganga Narayana Chakravarti accepted the Diksha from the Narottam Das Thakur. So yes, like we have to accept the initiation from the bona fide spiritual master who is from the bona fide Sampradaya. So, like the conclusion is that like we cannot simply by birth, right? We cannot say that like I'm a Brahmana. Like to become a Brahmana, you must show the personal qualification, and to become the spiritual master, like you should be well versed in the science of Krishna. So it doesn't matter like from which family you are, like from which in which family you are born, like a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Hare Krishna, who wants to read? Vinod Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. बस ठीक है. In the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, it is stated that if one bona fide spiritual master is born in a Brahmana family and another qualified spiritual master is born in a Shudra family, one should accept the one who is born in a Brahmana family. This statement serves as a social compromise, but it has nothing to do with spiritual understanding. This injunction is applicable only for those who consider social status more important than spiritual status. It is not for people who are spiritually serious. A serious person would accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions that anyone conversant with the science of Krishna must be accepted as a spiritual master, regardless of his social position. There is an injunction in the Padma Purana which states that though a highly elevated, spiritually advanced devotee of the Lord may have been born in a family of dog eaters, he can be a spiritual master. But that a highly elevated person born in a Brahmin family cannot be a spiritual master unless he is a devotee of the Lord. A person born in a Brahmana family may be conversant with all of the rituals of the Vedic scriptures, but if he is not a pure devotee, he cannot be a spiritual master. In all Shastras, the chief qualification of a bona fide spiritual master is that he be conversant with the science of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya therefore requested Ramananda Rai to go on teaching him without hesitation, not considering Lord Chaitanya's position as a sannyasi. Thus, Lord Chaitanya urged him to continue speaking on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Because you are asking me to speak of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Ramananda Rai humbly submitted, I will obey your order. I will speak in whatever way you like. Thus, Ramananda Rai humbly submitted himself as a puppet before Lord Chaitanya, the puppet master. He only wanted to dance according to the will of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He compared his tongue to a stringed instrument, saying, "You are the player of that instrument." Thus, as Lord Chaitanya would play, Ramananda Rai would vibrate the sound. Ramananda Rai said that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of all incarnations and the cause of all causes. There are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, innumerable incarnations and expansions of the Supreme Lord, and innumerable universes also. And of all these existences, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the only source. His traditional transcendental body is composed of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, and he is known as the son of Maharaja Nanda and the inhabitant of Gokula Vrindavan. He is full with six opulences, all wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, it is confirmed that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, the Lord of all lords, and that his transcendental body is Satchitananda. No one is the source of Krishna, but Krishna is the source of everyone. He is the supreme cause of all causes and a resident of Indravarna. He is also very attractive, just like Cupid. One can worship him by the Kama Gayatri mantra. In the Brahma Samhita, the transcendental land of Indravana is described as being always spiritual. That spiritual land is populated by goddesses of fortune who are known as gopis. These are all beloved of Krishna, and Krishna is the only lover of all those gopis. The trees of that land are all desired trees. You can have anything you want from any tree. The land is made of touchstone, and the water is nectar. In that land, all speech is song, all walking is dancing, and the constant companion is the flute. Everything is self eliminate, just like sun and moon. In this in this material world, the human form of life is meant for understanding this transcendental land of Indravana, and one who is fortunate should cultivate knowledge of Indravana and its residents. In that supreme abode of Krishna are Surbi, cows, who overflood the land with milk. Since not even a moment there is misused, there is no past, present, or future. An expansion of that Vrindavan is present on this earth, and superior devotees worship the earthly Vrindavan as non-different from the supreme abode. No one can appreciate Vrindavan without being highly elevated in spiritual knowledge, Krishna consciousness, according to ordinary experience. Vrindavan appears to be just like an ordinary tract of land, but in the eyes of a highly elevated devotee, it is as good as the original Vrindavan. A great saintly Acharya has sung, "When will my mind be cleared of all dirty things, so I will be able to see Vindravana as it is? And when will I be able to understand the literature left by six Goswamis, so that I will be able to understand the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna?" Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, yes, so here we can see yes, the people say na like okay, we have the choice. One spiritual master born in a Brahmana family, so and like one is a born in a Shudra family, so one should accept the Brahmana. One should accept the Brahmana spiritual master, but this is for the people who need the social status. Okay, I accepted the spiritual master who is a born in a Brahmana family, but like who is very serious in spirituality, who follow the instructions of a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that like regardless of the position, the social position, regardless of a birth, but only one person become the spiritual master who is a very conversant in a Krishna science of Krishna, and he's a conversant means he's the pure devotee, so he should accept it. And even these references are from the Padma Purana. Okay, so, and like even we see now, like Ramananda Rai, he is from the Shudra family. He is not a Brahmana. But like Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, you describe me the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna," and like he said, "Oh, please tell me," and like, but how like he know the his position, he know that he is the Krishna himself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Krishna himself. Then also he start hearing from him. Why? Because just the one qualification, he is the pure devotee of Lord Krishna. So, and like how he submitted, like he submitted very humbly, and he said, I will obey your order, I will speak in whatever way you like. And he said humbly submitted himself as a puppet, and like he said, you make me dance, and like I'm your instrument, and like play me as you want. So like the same thing we can see in this the poem na, like on Jalduda poem, the Krishna uh, Prabhupada say I am the puppet in your hand, like please make me dance, and I will dance according to your instruction. So similarly, na, when we start preaching, when we do book distribution, we have no qualification. But when we simply depend on Krishna, then Krishna take care of everything. Like you can pray, like Krishna, make me a puppet in your hand, like and make me dance as you want. Then Krishna will change your life in a such a way that like you will have the time for the spirituality. But like we are lacking in that desire, na? This desire should be strong, and like we should. This is the like a surrendering, na? Like whatever you want to do with me, please do it. But just give me remembrance of your holy names, and give me your transcendental loving service. So yes, like here the description is given that Krishna is the Satchidananda Vigraha, and even in a Brahma Samhita, it is stated that like Krishna is the supreme. Krishna is the supreme of everything, and Krishna is the a cause of all the causes. Sarva Karan Karanam. So yes, and his body is not like a material body like us. Like his body is a full of a eternity, bliss, and a knowledge. That is Satchidananda Vigraha. And Vrindavana is in a Brahma Samhita, it is described as a Vrindavana is a transcendental land, and it is always in the spiritual world. And like whatever Vrindavana we see on this earthly planet, they are expansion of a real Vrindavana from the Goloka. And like yes, here the goddess of fortune, gopis, like they worship the Krishna, and Krishna is a beloved of these gopis, and yes, they exchange their transcendental loving services. And yes, for the trees in Vrindavana, they are not just normal trees, they are a kalpa vriksha. Like they will fulfill the wishes of everyone. Like whatever you want, you will get them. And like the land is made up of touchstones. Touchstone is something that when you touch it to the iron surface, it will convert the iron, like innumerable amount of iron into the gold. And like water, it's just not a normal water, but it is a nectar. And like the all things they are not we don't need a bulb to illuminate the place. They are the self illuminated, and like everything is in sync with the Krishna. And the cows are not ordinary, they are surbi cows, like surbi cows, their milk is a very nectarian, and it's not like that. General cows only give the 5 to 10 liters of milk, and that too in a in limited amount and at limited time. But like the surbi cows can give the unlimited amount of a milk, and even through their milk they nourish the grasses of a. And like what important thing we can take from here, that since not even a moment there is a misuse, there is no past, present, future. So like when we continuously remain the Lord, like whatever work we are doing, when we are doing that work dedicated to Krishna, we are doing for a Krishna's pleasure, then like we are not wasting our time. Otherwise, even in a Bhagavatam, there is one shloka, na, for a person like who is not a spiritual, and who is not worshipping Krishna, who is not working for Krishna, every setting sun is takes away one day from his life. But in case of the devotee, it is not true. Why it is not true? Because every day, okay, we are working for Krishna, we are working for Krishna's pleasure, and we are constantly remaining Krishna. So when death comes, we are not going to get another body. Like we are going near to Krishna, and like when death comes, we will get the Krishna. So like how we are wasting our time. So like we have to take care of this. Even if you get the 5 minutes, you can chant on your finger digits. And like if you get the 10 15 minutes, you can take out the small books and you can start reading. This is how we have to engage. Or there is one Mataji used to say, there is one Prabhuji, who is the disciple of a Prabhupada, and like continuously he on his mobile, he plugged the earphones, and on his mobile continuous lectures of Prabhupadas are going, and whenever he get time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes, he simply plug the earphones, and he don't have to on the lectures of Prabhupada. They are all like already going on. He simply plugs and hear. So like devotees don't waste time. Even it is given in a nectar of devotion, na avyartha kala vegam. Devotees don't waste their time. So we constantly have to remember Krishna. And like like we are not that fortunate, na we can take out the entire days and practice Krishna consciousness, or we can give up everything. No, but like this is the austerity to take out the time and not to waste time and invest in Krishna consciousness. We have to steal the time from material things. And yes, who are the pure devotees? Yes, like many of us has gone to the Vrindavan trip. Then when we go there, you say, oh, the same piece of land, same things are here, like the same trees are here. Then what is the difference? like uh, because we don't have the transcendental eyes. We can see that transcendental things only when we have the transcendental eyes. So like we see the material things because currently we have material eyes, but when we get the spiritual eyes, and by purification of our senses, we can see the real Vrindavana on the same place. For that, we have to elevate ourselves, purify our senses. And how to purify? Simply follow the process of acharyas. And yes, the senior devotees, and who are the purified and who are the pure devotees, they see the Vrindavan, this Vrindavana, the Vrindavana present on this earth is non-different from the Vrindavana from a Goloka. And even the saintly acharyas, what they say, when will my mind will be clear of all contamination, so I will be able to see the Vrindavana as it is. And when will I able to understand the literature left by the Goswamis, so that I will able to know the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So yes, until and unless our material contamination get clear and we become pure, we are not able to see the Vrindavana as it is. We are not able to relish the books because our consciousness is a contaminator. So when we have the glass of water full of a dirty water, we simply have to keep that glass under the running water. So within some time, and this contaminated, we accumulated not in just one life, but thousands and crores of lives. So depend on the contamination, it will take that required time. So what is the process? We simply have to keep the dirty water glass under the running water. It means we have to continuously chant the holy name. We continuously have to read the Srila Prabhupada books, and we continuously hear the Hari Katha. And this should be daily. This is the part of sadhana: chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulator principles, reading books for at least for the 30 minutes, and hearing classes at least for the 30 minutes. This is the compulsion. And after that, whatever you can do, you can do. Even the Nama Prabhu said, na, you should read the Prabhupada books at least for 1 hour. Why 1 hour? Not less than that. Because when we read, na, our heart gets clear, our thought process changes. And by reading the books, by chanting the holy name, by hearing, our intelligence becomes stronger, and it will be easy to control our mind and senses. Okay, so should we continue for the 10 more minutes, because this chapter is little bigger? Then devotees can go for this the darshanarthi, na, or guru puja.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Hare, yes Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis in Vrindavana, or the transcendental, such affairs are also transcendental. Such affairs appear like the ordinary lusty affairs of this material world. But there is a gulf of difference between the moods of Vrindavana and those of this material world. In the material world, there may be temporary awakening of lust, but it disappears after so-called satisfaction. In the spiritual world, the love between the gopis and Krishna is constantly increasing. That is difference between the love in transcendental world and the lust in the material world. The lust, or so-called love, arising out of this body is as temporary as the body itself, but the love arising from the eternal soul in the spiritual world is on the spiritual platform, and since the spirit soul is eternal, their love is also eternal. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as the evergreen Cupid. Lord Krishna is worshipped by the Gayatri mantra, and the specific mantra by which he is worshipped is called Kama Gayatri. The Vedic literature explains that the sound vibration which can elevate one from mental, mental concoction is called Gayatri. Kama Gayatri mantra is composed of 24 1 by 2 syllables, thus Idim Kama Devaya Vidmaye Pushpa Banaya Dhimahi Tanna Nangaha Prachodayat. Okay. This Kama Gayatri is received from the spiritual master when the disciple is advanced in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, the Kama Gayatri mantra and samskara or reformation of a perfect Brahmana are offered by the spiritual master when he sees that his disciple is advanced in spiritual knowledge. Even then, the Kama Gayatri is not uttered under certain circumstances. In any case, the chanting of Hare Krishna is sufficient to elevate one to the highest spiritual platform. In Brahma Samhita, a nice description of the sound of Krishna's flute is given. When Krishna began to play on his flute, the sound vibration entered into the ear of Brahma as the Vedic mantra Om. This Om is composed of three letters A, U, and M, and it describes our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities by which we can achieve the highest perfection of love and the actual position of love in the spiritual platform. When the sound vibration of Krishna flute is expressed through the mouth of Brahma, it becomes Gayatri. Thus, by being influenced by the sound vibration of Krishna's flute, Brahma, the supreme creature and first living entity of the material world, was initiated as a Brahmana. That Brahma was initiated on a Brahmana as a Brahmana by the flute of Krishna is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. When Brahma was enlightened by the Gayatri mantra through Krishna's flute, he attained all Vedic knowledge. Acknowledging the benediction offered to him by Krishna, he became the original supreme spiritual master of all living entities. The word Kim added to the Gayatri mantra is explained in the Brahma Samhita as the transcendental seed of love of Godhead or the seed of Kama Gayatri. The object is Krishna, who is evergreen Cupid, and by utterance of him, Krishna is worshipped. It's also stated in the Gopala Tapani Upanishad that when Krishna is spoken of as Cupid, one should not think of him as the Cupid of this material world. As already explained, Vrindavana is the spiritual abode of Krishna, and thus the word Cupid is also spiritual and transcendental when applied to Krishna. One should not take the material Cupid and Cupid to be on the same level and Krishna to be on the same level. The material Cupid increases the attraction to the external flesh and body, but the spiritual Cupid increases the attraction the super soul exerts upon the individual soul. Actually, lust and the sex urge are there in spiritual life, but when the spirit soul is embodied in material elements, that spiritual urge is expressed through the material body and is therefore pervertly reflected. One who actually becomes conversant with the science of Krishna consciousness can understand that his material desire for sex is abominable, whereas spiritual sex is desirable. Spiritual sex is of two kinds, one in accordance with the constitutional position of the self, and the other in accordance with the object. When one understands the truth about this life, but is not completely cleansed of material contamination, he is not factually situated in the transcendental abode Vrindavana, although he may understand spiritual life. In this stage, he can utter the Kama Gayatri with the uh, Kama Bija. When, however, he becomes free from all bodily sex urges, he can actually attain the supreme abode of Vrindavana. Ramananda Raya then explained that Krishna is attractive for both men and women, for the moving and non moving, indeed, for all living entities. For this reason, he is called Transcendental Cupid. Ramananda Raya then quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.32.2, stating that when the Lord appeared before the damsels of Vraja smiling and playing on his flute, he appeared just like Cupid. The different kinds of devotees of Supreme Lord love different aptitudes and relationships with him. Any relationship with the Lord is as good as any other because the central point is Krishna. In this connection, there is a nice verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.1 that states Krishna is a reservoir of all pleasures and he is always attracting the gopis by the spiritual luster of his body. He especially attracts Taraka, Pali, Shyama, and Lalita. Krishna is very dear to Radharani, the foremost gopi. Like Krishna, the gopis are glorified by Krishna's pastimes. There are different kinds of relationships with Krishna, and anyone who is attracted to Krishna in particular mellow is glorious. Krishna is beautiful, is so beautiful, transcendental, and attractive that he sometimes attracts even himself. The following verse appears in the Gita Govinda. Vishvedam, not required. Okay. My dear friend, just see how Krishna is enjoying his transcendental pastimes in the spring by expanding the beauty of his personal body. His soft legs and hands, just like the most beautiful moon, are used on the bodies of gopis when he embraces different parts of their bodies. He is so beautiful. Krishna is so beautiful that he attracts even Narayana as well as the goddesses of fortune who associates with Narayana. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.89.58, the Bhuma Purusha Mahavishnu told Krishna and Arjuna, my dear Krishna and Arjuna, I have taken the Brahmana's son just to see you. Arjuna had attempted to save some youths who had died untimely in Dwarka, and when he failed to save them, Krishna took him to the Bhuma Purusha. When the Bhuma Purusha brought forth those dead youths as living entities, he said, both of you appeared in order to preserve religious principles in this world and to annihilate the demons. In other words, the Bhuma Purusha, being also attracted by the beauty of Krishna, concocted this pastime just as a pretext to see him. It is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1636 that after the serpent Kalia was punished by Krishna, one of the Kalia's wife told Krishna, dear Lord, we cannot understand how this fallen serpent got the opportunity of being kicked by your lotus feet when even goddesses of fortune underwent austerities for many years just to see you. How Krishna is attracted by his own beauty is described in the Lalita Madhava 8.34. Upon seeing his own picture, Krishna lamented, how glorious this picture is. It is attracting me just as it attracts Radharani. Okay. After giving a summary description of Krishna's beauty, Ramananda Raya began to speak of his spiritual energies, headed by Srimati Radharani. Krishna has immense energetic expansions, of which three are predominant: the internal energy, the external energy, and marginal energy. Comprising the living entities, the threefold division of energies is confirmed in the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61, where it is stated that Vishnu has one spiritual energy which is manifested in three ways. When the spiritual energy is overwhelmed by ignorance, it is called the marginal energy. As far as the spiritual energy itself is concerned, it is exhibited in three forms because Krishna is a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As far as his bliss and peacefulness are concerned, his spiritual energy is manifested as the pleasure giving potency. His eternity is a manifesting energy, and his knowledge is manifested as spiritual perfection. As confirmed in the Vishnu Purana 1.12.69, the pleasure potency of Krishna gives Krishna transcendental pleasure and bliss. Thus, when Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure, he exhibits his own spiritual potency known as Ahladini. In his spiritual form, Krishna enjoys his spiritual energy, and that is the sum and substance of Radha Krishna pastimes. These pastimes can be understood only by elevated devotees. One should not try to understand the Radha Krishna potencies and pastimes from the mundane platform. Generally, people misunderstand these as being material. When the pleasure potency is further condensed, it is called Mahabhava. Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Krishna, is the personification of that Mahabhava. In this regard, in the Ujjvala Nilamani 4.3, Rupa Goswami states that there are two competitors in loving Krishna, Radharani and Chandravali. When they are compared, it appears that Radharani is superior, for she is Mahabhava Swarupa. The term Mahabhava Swarupa, the personification of Mahabhava, is applicable to Radharani only and no one else. Mahabhava is full of the pleasure potency, and it is the exhibition of highest love for Krishna. Radharani is therefore throughout the world, uh, where is it? Is throughout the world uh, as the most beloved of Krishna. And her name is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 also confirms that Krishna expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world, and that these potencies are all non different from him. The absolute truth, although Krishna is always enjoying the company of his pleasure potency expansions, he is all pervading. Therefore, Brahma offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, the cause of all causes. As Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. Krishna is unlimited, and Radharani is also unlimited in her ability to satisfy him. Krishna is satisfied just by seeing Radharani, but Radharani expands herself in such a way that Krishna desires to enjoy her more. Because Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani, and that combination of Krishna and Radharani is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramananda Raya then began to explain how Radharani is the supreme emblem of Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms known as Lalita Vishaka and her other confidential associates. In his Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami explains that one of the characteristics of Srimati Radharani is that her body is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers, fragrant aromas, and is complete with transcendental love for Krishna. Indeed, that body is the personification of his pleasure potency. Radharani bathes her transcendental body 3 times. First in the water of mercy, second in the water of youthful beauty, and third in the water of youthful luster. After she bathes 3 times in that way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with her personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy, trembling, shedding of tears, perspiring, choking of the voice, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, standing up of the Mataji, bodily hairs, changing of bodily color, and madness. The decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these are manifested by the expansion of Radharani's personal beauty, which is adorned with garland of flowers. Her patient calmness is compared to covering of clothes which has been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot in her hair, and the mark of tilaka on her forehead is her good fortune. Radharani's sense of hearing is eternally fixed on Krishna's where is it? Name and fame. Chewing um, yeah. Chewing betel nuts makes one sleeps ready. Similarly, Radharani's complete attachment to Krishna has blackened the borders of her eyes. The darkness might be compared to ointment produced by Radha's joking with Krishna. Radharani's smile is just like a taste of camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down on the bed of pride within the room of aroma. Her breasts are covered by the blouse of anger, born of her ecstatic affection for Krishna. Her reputation as the best of all Krishna's girlfriend is the stringed instrument she plays. When Krishna stands in his youthful posture, she puts her hand on his shoulder. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, she is still always engaged in service of Krishna. Srimati Radharani is decorated with the um, Sudipta, Sudipta Satvika emotions. Sudipta Satvika emotions, which sometimes includes jubilation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta Satvika emotions are manifest when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called Kila Kinchita, Kila Kinchita, which is manifest in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to one's body, partly due to one's mind, and partly due to habit. As far as bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. As far as emotions of mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, sweetness, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as habitual emotions are concerned, they are manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparing for separation, and forgetfulness. The tilaka of good fortune on the forehead is on the forehead of Srimati Radharani, and she also has locket of Prema Vaichitya. Prema Vaichitya is manifest when a lover and beloved meet and fear separation. Srimati Radharani is 15 days younger than Krishna. She always keeps her hand on the shoulder of one of her friends, and she always talks and thinks of pastimes with Krishna. She always offers Krishna a kind of intoxicant by her sweet talks, and she is always prepared to fulfill all his desires. In other words, she supplies everything needed to meet all the demands of Shri Krishna, and she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Krishna's satisfaction. In the Govinda Leelamrita, a nice verse states, who is breeding ground of affection for Krishna? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Who is Krishna's dear most lovable object? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. Sheen in the hair, moisture in the eyes, firmness in the breast, all these qualities are present in Srimati Radhika. Therefore, only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all desires of Krishna. No one else can do. Satyabhama is a competitor of Srimati Radharani, but she always desires to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all damsels of Raja come to learn arts from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddesses of Fortune and Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, desire elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, desire to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Krishna cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them. After hearing Ramananda Raya speak of the qualities of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, Lord Chaitanya desired to hear from him about the reciprocal exchange of love between them. Ramananda Raya described Krishna as Dhira Lalita, as a word indicating a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety, and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Krishna is always engaged in loving affairs with Radharani, and he takes to the bushes of Vrindavana to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Thus, he successfully carries out his lusty instincts. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated, by the impudent and daring talks about sex indulgence, Krishna obliged Srimati Radharani to close her eyes, and taking advantage of this, Krishna painted many pictures on her breast. These pictures served as subject matter for Radharani's friends to joke about. Krishna was always engaged in such lusty activities, and thus he made his youthful life successful. Upon hearing of these transcendental activities, Lord Chaitanya said, my dear Ramanandaraya, what you have explained regarding the transcendental pastime of Sri Radha and Krishna is perfectly correct. Yet there is something more I would like to hear from you. It is very difficult for me to express anything beyond this, Ramanandaraya replied. I can only say that there is an emotional activity called Prema Vilasa Vivarta, which I may try to explain, but I do not know whether you will be happy to hear of it. In Prema Vilasa, there are two kinds of emotional activities, meeting and separation. This transcendental separation is so acute that it is actually more aesthetic than meeting. Ramananda Raya was expert in understanding these highly elevated dealings between Radha and Krishna, and in this regard, he had composed a nice song which he narrated to the Lord. The purport of the song is that the lover and the beloved, before meeting, generate a kind of emotion by the exchange of their transcendental activities. That emotion is called raga or attraction. Srimati Radharani noted that this attraction and affection between us has risen to the highest extent. But the cause of attraction is Radharani herself. Whatever the cause may be, Radharani said, that affection between you and me has mixed us in oneness. Now that it is the time of separation, I cannot see the history of evolution of this love. There was no cause or meditator in our love, save our meeting itself and the exchange of feelings through our glances. This exchange of feelings between Krishna and Radharani is very difficult to understand unless one is elevated to the platform of pure goodness. Such transcendental reciprocation is not possible to understand even from the platform of material goodness. One has to transcend even material goodness in order to understand. This is because the exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is not a subject matter of this material world. Even the greatest mental speculators cannot understand this directly or indirectly. Material activities are manifested for either the gross body or the subtle mind, but this exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is beyond such manifestations and beyond intellectual mental speculation. It can be understood only with purified senses, freed from all designations of the material world. Those who have purified senses can understand these transcendental features and exchanges. But those who are impersonalist and who have no knowledge of spiritual senses can only within the scope discriminate within the scope of material senses and thus cannot understand spiritual exchanges or spiritual sensual activities. Those who are elevated by virtue of experimental knowledge can only satisfy their blunt material senses, either by gross bodily activities or by mental speculation. Everything generated from the body or mind is always imperfect and perishable. But transcendental spiritual activities are always bright and wonderful. Pure love on the transcendental platform is the paragon of purity because it is devoid of material affection and is completely spiritual. Affection for matter is perishable as indicated by the ebriety of sex in the material world, but there is no such ebriety in the spiritual world. Hindrances on the path of sense gratification cause material distress, but one cannot compare that with the spiritual distress of separation from Krishna. In such spiritual separation, there is neither ebriety nor ineffectiveness as one finds with material separation. Lord Chaitanya said that this is the highest position of transcendental loving reciprocation, and he told Ramananda Raya, by your grace only have I been able to understand such a high transcendental position. Such a position cannot be attained without the performance of transcendental activities. So, will you kindly explain to me how I can raise myself to this platform? It is similarly difficult for me to make you understand, Ramananda replied. As far as I am concerned, I can only uh, speak what you wish me to, for no one can escape your supreme will. Indeed, there is no one in this material who can surpass your supreme will. And although I appear to be speaking, I am actually not the speaker, you are. Therefore, you are both speaker and the audience. Thus, let me speak only as you will me to speak about the activities required to attain this highest transcendental position. Ramananda Raya then began his explanation saying that the transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. These activities cannot be understood by one who has emotional relationship with the uh, who cannot understand by one who has a emotional relationship with the Supreme Lord as servant to master, friend to friend, or parent to son. This confidential subject matter can be understood only in the association of damsels of Raja, for these confidential activities have arisen from the feelings and emotions of those damsels. Without the association of damsels of Raja, one cannot nourish or cherish such a transcendental understanding. In other words, because these confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna have explained through the mercy expanded through the mercy of damsels of Raja. Without their mercy, one cannot understand them. One has to follow in the footsteps of damsels of Raja in order to understand. When one is actually situated in that understanding, he becomes eligible to enter into confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna. For one who wants to understand these confidential pastimes, there is no alternative to following the footsteps of damsels of Raja. This is confirmed in the Govinda Leelamrita 10.17. Although manifest, happy, expanded, and unlimited, the emotional exchanges between Radha and Krishna can be understood only by the damsels of Raja or their followers. Just as no one can understand the expansion of spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord without his causeless mercy, no one can understand the transcendental sex life between Radha and Krishna without following in the footsteps of damsels of Raja. The associates of Radharani include her personal associates called Sakis and her near assistants called Manjaris. It is very difficult it is to express the dealings of Radharani's associates with Krishna, because they have no desire to mix with him or enjoy with him personally. Rather, they're always ready to help Radharani associate with Krishna. Their affection for Krishna and Radharani is so pure that they are simply satisfied when Radha and Krishna are together. Indeed, their transcendental pleasure is in seeing Radha and Krishna united. The actual form of Radharani is just like a creeper embracing the tree of Krishna. The damsels of Raja, the associates of Radharani, are just like leaves and flowers of that creeper. When a creeper embraces a tree, the leaves and flowers of the creeper automatically embrace it. The Govinda Leelamrita 10.16 describes the pleasure of Radharani's associates as follows. Radharani, the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna, is compared to a creeper, and her associates, the damsels of Raja, are compared to the flowers and leaves of that creeper. When Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, the damsels of Raja relish the pleasure more than Radharani herself. Although the associates of Radharani do not expect any personal attention from Krishna, Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Krishna and the damsels of Raja. Indeed, Radharani tries to unite her associates with Krishna by many transcendental maneuvers, and she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meetings with him. When Krishna sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, he becomes most satisfied. Such loving reciprocation. Excuse me, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, now I can continue. Like,
Okay.
or Muthumanikam Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Such a loving reciprocation has nothing to do with material lust, although it resembles the material union between man and woman. Because of that similarity, such reciprocation is sometimes called in transcendental language transcendental lust, as confirmed in the Gautamiya Tantra. Lust means attachment in one's personal sense gratification. But as far as Radharani and her associates are concerned, they have no desire for personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.31.19. In a verse spoken by the uh, gopis among themselves. My dear friend Krishna, you are now roaming in the forest with your bare feet, which you sometimes keep on your breast. When your feet are on your breast, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft foot. Now you are wandering in the forest and walking over rough stones, and we do not know how you are feeling. Since you are our life and soul, the displeasure you are undergoing in traveling over the rough stones is giving us great distress. Such feelings expressed by the damsels of the Vraja constitute the higher Krishna conscious emotions. Anyone who actually becomes captivated by Krishna consciousness approaches this level of the gopis. There are 64 categories of regulated devotional service, the performance of which helps one rise to the gopis stage of unconditional devotion. Affection for Krishna on the levels of gopis is called ragamika, ragatmika, ragatmika, a spontaneous love. When one enters into a spontaneous loving affair with Krishna, there is no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. There are various kinds of personal devotees of Lord Krishna in the transcendental abode. For example, there are servants of Krishna like Raktaga and Patraga, and the friends of Krishna like Sridhama and Subala. There are also Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda. There are also engaged in the who are also engaged in his service according to their respective transcendental emotions. One who decides to enter into the supreme abode of Krishna can take shelter of one such transcendental servitor. Then, through the execution of loving service, one can ultimately attain transcendental affection for Krishna, the highest goal. In other words, that a devotee in this material world who execute loving service pursuance of the activities of the eternal associates with Krishna attains the same post when he is perfected. The sages known as the Srutis, the personified Upanishad, also decided the post of the gopis, and they also followed in the footsteps of the gopis in order to attain the highest goal of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.23, where it is said that in the general sages control their mind and senses by practicing pranayama, control of the breathing process, and the mystic yoga. Thus, they try to merge into the Supreme Brahman. But this same goal is attained by atheists who deny the existence of God. If they are killed by an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also merge into the Brahman existence of the Supreme Lord. But the damsels of Vrindavana worship Sri Krishna, having been bitten by him, just as the person is bitten by a snake. For Krishna's body is compared with the body of the snake. The snake's body is never straight. It is always curved. Similarly, Krishna often stands in a three-curved posture, and he has bitten the gopis with transcendental love. The gopis are certainly better situated than all mystic yogis and other who decide to merge into the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the sages known as the Surubis followed in the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja in order to attain a similar position. One cannot attain the position simply by following the regulative principles. Rather, one must seriously follow the principles of the Gopi. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.21, wherein it is stated that the Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Srimati Yasoda, it is not easily available to those following principle of mental speculation, but it is very easily available to the kinds of living beings who follow the path of spontaneous devotional service. There are many pseudo devotees claiming to belong to the Lord Krishna Mahaprabhu's sectarian who artificially dress themselves as the damsels of Braja. This is not approved by advanced spiritualists or advanced students of devotional service. Such people dress the outward material body because they foolishly confuse the body with the soul. They are mistaken when they think that the spiritual bodies of Krishna, Radharani and their associates, the damsels of Braja, are composed of material nature. One should know perfectly well that all such manifestations are expansions of the eternal bliss and knowledge in the transcendental world. They have nothing to do with this material bodies. Thus, the bodies, dresses, decorations, and activities of the damsels of Vrindavana do not belong to this material cosmic manifestation. The damsels of Vrindavana are not a subject for the attraction of those in the material world. They are the transcendental attractions for the all attractive Krishna. Because the Lord is all attractive. He is called Krishna. But the damsels of Vrindavana are attractive even to Krishna. Therefore, they are not of this material world. If one wrongly thinks that the material body is as perfect as the spiritual body and thus begins to worship Krishna by imitating the damsels of Vrindavana, he becomes infested with Mayavada, that is impersonal philosophy. The impersonalists recommend a process of ahangraho pasana, by which one worships his own body as the supreme thinking in this way. Such pseudo transcendentalists dress themselves as the damsels of Braja. Such activities are not acceptable in devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami, the most authoritative Acharya in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, has condemned these imitators. The process of transcendental realization is to follow in the footsteps of the associates of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, to think oneself in a direct associate of the Supreme Lord is condemned. According to authorized Vaishnava principles, one should follow a particular devotee and not think of himself as Krishna's associate. In this way, Ramananda Raya explained that one should accept the mood of the damsels of Raja in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is clearly said that one should accept the emotional activities of the associates of Krishna, not imitate their dress. One should also always meditate upon the dealing between Radha and Krishna in the transcendental world. One should think of Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day and engage in their service within one's mind, not externally. Change one's Mataji, please scroll down. Change one's change one's dress by adopting the mood of the associates and friends of Radharani and following in their footsteps. One can ultimately achieve the perfectional stage of being transferred to Pologa Vrindavana, the transcendental abode of Krishna. By adopting this emotional mood of the following in the footsteps of the gopis, one attains his Siddhasdeha. This word indicates the pure spiritual body, which is beyond the senses, mind, and intelligence. Siddhadeha is the purified soul who is just suitable to serve the Supreme Lord. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate without being situated in his perfectly pure spiritual identity. That identity is completely free from all material contamination. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, a materially contaminated person transmigrates to another material body by material consciousness. At the time of death, he thinks materially and is therefore transferred to another material body. Similarly, one who at the time of death is situated in his pure spiritual identity thinks of all the spiritual loving services rendered to the Supreme Lord and is transferred to the spiritual kingdom to enter into the association of Krishna. In other words, the qualification for being transferred to the spiritual kingdom at the time of death is to think in one's spiritual identity of Krishna and his associates. No one can contemplate the activities of the spiritual kingdom without being situated in his pure spiritual identity, that is Siddha Deha. Thus, Ramananda Raya said that without attaining one's Siddha Deha, one can neither become an associate of the damsels of Braja nor render service directly to the personality of God, Krishna, and his eternal consort, Radharani. In this regard, Ramananda quoted nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.60. Neither the goddess of fortune Lakshmi nor the damsels of the heavenly kingdom can attain the facilities of the damsels of Brajabhumi and what the speak of others. Lord Chaitanya was very satisfied to hear these statements from Ramanandaraya and he embraced him. Then both of them began to cry to the ecstasy of transcendental realization. Thus the Lord and Ramanandaraya discussed the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna throughout the night, and in the morning they separated. Ramananda left to go to his place and Lord went to take his bath. At, at the time of separation, Ramananda fell at the feet of the Lord Chaitanya and prayed, my dear Lord, you have come just to deliver me from this mire of nescience. Therefore, I request that you remain here for at least 10 days to purify my mind of material contamination. There is no one else who can deliver with the transcendental love of God. The Lord replied, I have come to you to purify myself by hearing from you the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I am so fortunate for you, for you are the only only one teacher have such transcendental pastimes. I can find no one else in this world who has realized the transcendental loving reciprocation between Radha and Krishna. You are asking me to stay here for 10 days, but I wish to remain with you for the rest of my life. Please come to Jagannatha Puri, my headquarters, and we will remain together for the rest of our lives. Thus, I can pass my remaining days in understanding Krishna and Radha by your association. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. So actually, we extend our class because this chapter is very big, and then we also have to conclude, read the conclusion also tomorrow, and then like we have to finish around 30-40 pages from this book. And from next week, we have to start the nectar of instruction and then Isha Upanishad. Na? That's why we are like a little stretching the classes because in this month, na, like we also take some special classes and and we summarize the content many times. Na? So someone who has regularly hearing the classes, almost 80 to 60% the past times they have memorized them because we not only increase not only just simply go by reading, but we also summarize. And we are reading so fast because when you are hearing properly, and then you will come to know these are very high. We require to the qualification is that we should be free from material contamination and we should be pure, and then only we can understand this transcendental pastimes. Otherwise why we are not explaining them, because I'm not on that platform. And also we haven't read all the 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are not qualified to discuss them and even to hear them. But because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have read them, and we read them little faster so that and we that's the reason we haven't explained them, because there are some things when we try to explain them, most of the devotees including myself we start comparing them to the material loving affairs between the boy and girl, and which is the offense. That's why we are avoiding that. Okay, so it's my maybe you are qualified, but I'm not qualified to explain them. Okay, so today we will end our session here. Tomorrow we will do the conclusion of this book, and then Saturday Sunday we will try to one day we will try to revise, and one day we will try to read the books. If it is possible to cover all the 30 pages in one one day, then on Sunday we will revise highlighted points of this book. And from Monday, if you want the Isha Upanishad to start, or if you want the nectar of instruction to start, we will start from there. Okay, so let's end here. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्य वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna, happy Krishna conscious day.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for reading and giving the association.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
13th
Hare
chapter,
Krishna.
right? It is 13 and 14 chapter, right?
No. These chapters are from this book, na?
Yes.
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
Yes,
And
13th
this
chapter and
this is
14th, right?
31 chapter.
Okay.
The Supreme Perfection. We started the chapters from chapter 27, Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai, then 28th chapter, Relationship with the Supreme, 29th chapter, Pure Love for Krishna, and 30, Transcendental Pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And now today we cover the 31st chapter, the Supreme Perfection. Tomorrow we will do the conclusion, and then we will again move to this book, Lord Chaitanya, his life and teachings, from Lord Chaitanya returning to the Jagannath.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay.
Mataji, in upcoming days, we will start from the, I think, next nectar of instruction. Then we will start the Isha Upanishad. Okay, Mataji?
Yes.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all devotees. Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna Mataji.